and everybody's older than you, and most of them have had classes together, and they have their own friend networks, and you're just new to the party, like,
Yeah.
and you got to figure it out fast. So you got plugged in. What's sorority life like at CFC?
Mine was a little bit different because I joined a sorority that colonized that year. So it was our
Okay.
first year. So it was a lot of hard work trying to kind of build that sorority from the ground. But Greek life, Charleston is a very, very social city. So Greek life is pretty big there. Not everybody on campus is part of Greek life, but it is a big deal. And I was really surprised when I got there that the Greek life there is very philanthropic. So we did a lot to kind of help the community at CFC, to help the communities and philanthropies that we served and things like that.
I love that. In Georgia, fraternities and sororities are a big part. We had over 27.
Mhm.
And I had a chance to actually recolonize a fraternity. So I know exactly where you're coming from on that and all the legwork that's involved
Yeah,
in that. Uh, it's hard when you're first starting too, because everybody else, again, they're already established and you're not.
right.
Uh, so I understand completely. And that's a hard thing, very noble. Hopefully you still check in with them from time to time.
Yeah.
Maybe. And
I feel like it's
I
more
like
very
the
social.
philanthropy piece. I love the philanthropy piece too. A lot of people don't understand that about Greek life, but so much money is raised by the fraternities and sororities. So they're doing
Yeah,
a
it was
lot of
really
good.
cool. The one I joined was Sigma Kappa, and one of the big ones, one of our big philanthropies was Alzheimer's. And at the time, I didn't have any connections, but a few years after I graduated, my grandfather had gotten Alzheimer's. So it was really cool to kind of already be connected and know a little bit about it and know a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association.
That's great. All right. So you go to CFC, you graduate from CFC. What's your degree in?
I got a bachelor's of communication, so I studied marketing, public relations, things like that.
Great. We're really alike, Maddie. My degree's in marketing too.
Nice.
All right, so you have the wonderful graduation. I've talked to a lot of CSC people, and so far we've been keeping it a secret, and we're going to keep it a secret about what CFC's graduation's like, right? Because it's so different. I
Yeah, it's
want
very
people to get
special.
out and go do their own research about it because it's crazy awesome. Uh, and I don't think that you can really describe it and do it justice.
Mhm.
It's just so different. All right, so you have that business degree. Now what?
That was a really big question for me my last year of college. I spent about a year interning with one of the biggest PR firms in Charleston, and it was really awesome. I enjoyed it and soaked up as much as I could. But towards the end of it, I was like, I don't think that I can sit in a 9 to 5 desk job writing social media captions for the rest of my life. It's like I just don't think that this is very fulfilling for me and what I want to do with my future. Um, so I took a different route, and I was super involved in church growing up and throughout my college career, um, and I felt that God was calling me to ministry, and that's what I wanted to do. So I said, you know what, God, if this is truly, truly it, this is truly what you have, I'll apply to one seminary and no other seminaries. I didn't apply to a single full-time job. I applied just to Duke Divinity School, and that's where I ended up.
All right, Duke Blue Devil. No, I love that part. And it's been kind of a common theme in a lot of these interviews. Like, all right, I'm set. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going, and then now I'm going to go a different route, and that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so cool. Like too how you had the faith element too. All the eggs in God's basket's a good place to put the eggs.
Mhm.
And so he leads you to Duke. Duke Blue Devil, first early college person in the history of the program to attend Duke.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
That's
that.
exciting. The only person we actually have somebody who works there for the athletics department.
Oh, I
Uh,
worked for the athletics department while I was there.
Perfect. What's Duke like in
It was
terms of rigor?
I think that my experience in the program that I picked is a little different from the undergrad.
So
And seeing the undergrads around campus and their expectations versus the expectations of my coursework were very different.
sure,
Um, like any major, I guess, would be. But I think my experience at Duke was awesome. I the program that I went into, the course sizes were pretty small. Um, the the professors were super involved in your learning and in your really in your life. Um, and I think that it was hard. It was a master's degree for sure, but it really helped being something that I was passionate about and something that I really wanted to study.
always cool to see how graduate programs are, because it is such a different experience, and people really just they don't grasp it. But
Yeah.
it is just such a different experience. You're so much closer to your classmates and professors, and it's
Mhm.
just a different experience.
Mhm.
All right, so you were there at Duke. I assume you probably went to some basketball games. I think basketball is pretty big at Duke,
Oh yeah.
sort of. What's it like being a Cameron Crazy?
I worked for the basketball team, so I got a really like different and cool experience. I worked for the sports information department, and most of the sports that I worked for were basketball. I did football a little bit. I did soccer a few times, but most of it was just men's basketball. And it is crazy in there. They are loud and super passionate. But I got to sit on press row, watch right there from the sidelines. I got to go into all the press conferences. My job was to type all the quotes for Coach K. So I would sit there with my little laptop and
Wow.
type up all he said. So it was a super cool experience, and I was really blessed to have it because College of Charleston doesn't really have a big athletic department.
Right. That is so cool. All right, so you have your master's there from the Divinity School at Duke. Then what direction did you go?
But after I left Duke, I found out while I was there. I thought I'd come out a pastor of a church. Um, and the same thing, nope, that's not what happened. That's not what I wanted to do. But while we were there, you have to do two internships. And my first internship was with Camp Rockfish in Fayetteville. And I just kind of interned as a ministry intern. I led a lot of worship, really got to understand what ministry in a camp setting looked like. I was like, man, this is it. This is awesome. So my second internship was with another camp. And then I came out and that's what I did. I work for the same camp now. I did take a break and I left for a few months, but I came out working originally as the it's a really long name, campus use coordinator. Um, but I just did a lot of reservations for summer camp, helping book retreats, and I left there and became a teacher for 9 months. I served as a English teacher for ninth grade, and then I came back to Camp Rockfish about 3 years ago, and now I'm their children's minister.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I know you made Miss Marlowe and all the other English teachers so proud. Uh, and you really made all of us proud. You've had a lot of great success. And I love the stories. The stories are great. Again, it's that we think we know what we're doing and it goes a different way, and it's awesome. And it's how we learn, it's how we grow. So I absolutely love that. All right, last two questions. Afterward, I want to talk to you about a couple of things. So we'll do the next two questions. I'll end the recording, then we'll talk about a couple things.
Cool.
I'll give you both questions. You can choose which order you want to answer them in. Question number one: on March 17th, the middle schoolers for the that will be part of the class of 2029
Wow.
will receive their acceptance letters from early college. What advice do you give that middle schooler who's really unsure about this? I mean, you didn't really necessarily speak to that uncertainty as we talked, but you probably had some of that uncertainty too, and you definitely had classmates who did. But what advice do you give that eighth grader? Second question: what advice do you give that senior? In 2 months, they're finished. Finals this year at TAC are in April, which is crazy early. But what advice do you give that senior who thinks they know what's up and they're ready to go?
Yeah, I think that my advice would be the same. Granted, it would be this, it would might be different for the circumstance, but just be open-minded. I think that early college has so much to offer that a lot of other places can't give. And I think that to the eighth grader that's a little scared, a little nervous, and not sure if they should accept, to just come at it open-minded. It's a new experience, and at the end of the day, you can always close the door if it's not for you, but you never know until you open it. And I think the same goes for the ninth or the 10th, 12th graders, wow, that are about to leave early college and head into their own lives. I think that one, it would be really look into the scholarships and the programs that you're applying to, and what's going to get you to where you think you might want to be in the future and put you farther ahead. Like I've said earlier, student loan debt is no joke, and if you can avoid it the best you can, try. But also be open-minded, because I would have never thought graduating early college that I would have graduated from Duke Divinity School, that I would be living in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Um, but I'm here because I said, okay, we'll open a door and we'll see, we'll try it. And I'm more than happy to be where I am.
Love it. Perfect advice, Maddie, Atwood, Russell. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.